Hi, Brigham. Let me know when you can hear.
I can
There
hear
we
you.
go. Awesome. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for your patience. I like saw that you were there, but it wasn't letting me click you in for some reason, so I just
Yeah.
like reset it. So
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. How are you today?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Good.
Coming off the tail end of a what I thought was a stomach bug that evolved into a flu, but
Ooh,
it's been
interesting.
passing around in
Okay.
my office. So
Yikes. Oh, yeah, it's so hard. Like everybody's gonna catch it. It's like,
we
everyone's,
all bathe in hand sanitizer and wipe down every surface, but it's just like,
yeah. Right. But when it's like everybody's got it that you're around, how can you not?
you know, it's like we're all taking shifts. It's just like where's so and so? Oh, they're sick. And, oh, okay. Then
hmm
they're there, and then the next person is gone. And yeah,
Yeah. Well, you know, it's all right. It's
yeah.
life.
'Tis the season.
At least you got it out of the way early in the season, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. And I just need to just keep my vitamin C intake high. And
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, as we are diving in today, what would you say are maybe your primary goals today?
okay, so last week, I before I got sick, I went through and just kind of just did another take of the introduction. Um, that I thought was definitely better than my first one. Um, but I still was like, I was like, I feel like it could use another go. And I was planning on doing that, and then I got sick. Um, so um, I was wondering if, with the given circumstances, if
Yeah,
like if you're familiar enough with the ACX submission
sure.
rules that you could kind of maybe that I could maybe like test it out on like my first recording.
The edits,
Um,
yeah, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah. So they are pretty strict. It has to be within certain parameters and it's a pretty narrow window. I would say it's probably the most like conservative parameters that I've ever had to do. Um,
yeah,
but it's pretty normal to struggle with them. Pretty much
yeah.
everybody
Because
asks.
yeah,
They're
because
like,
it,
what do
it
I do
uses
here?
terms and stuff like that that you're
Yeah.
just like,
What does that mean? Yeah. So
yeah.
why don't we go ahead and take one of the recordings you've got, and we're just going to walk through step by step how to edit it.
Okay, perfect. Um, let me share my screen.
Sure. That'd be great.
Oh,
Allow, yes. Sorry.
there you go. You're totally
There
fine.
we go. Can you do it now?
Yes.
Excellent.
So, um, and this is a very like rough cut. I
Yeah.
like like the only main editing that I did was like remove most of the like a lot of the background noise.
hmm
Um, so there are going to be parts where
Yeah.
like like I repeat or I stutter or something like that, but
hmm
I'd still like to just
Yeah, like
practice and
cutting out any of the room noise. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
Excellent.
still like to practice everything else
Yeah,
that would go into
absolutely.
blogging.
So for the entrance, it needs to be about like a half a second. I think it has to be like a half a second to a second of a lead in of space, like silence beforehand.
Okay, and did more than awesome.
And then so we'll do like half a second to a second at the beginning. And then I
And
believe at the end, it's between 1 second and 2 seconds for the lead out. And I like to do a fade in on that, like half a second to a second at the beginning, and then a fade out in that 1 to 2 seconds at the end.
okay. Um, so when you say the 1 to 2 seconds at the beginning, sorry, that's between.
So it's half a second to a second at the beginning.
Oh, I'm on seconds. I thought I was on like.
Yep.
Okay, okay,
So
that
half a
makes a lot more
second to
sense.
a second at the beginning, and then you'll do a fade in there.
Okay, makes a lot more sense. Okay, and then fade in when I
Yep. So
like
you'll just
conclude.
highlight all of that silence leading up to where you start, and you're going to do a fade in there, is what I like to add.
Okay, including where I actually start or
Nope, just the silence.
just the
And it's
silence.
like so subtle, but it just adds a nice little like polished bookend.
Okay. Fade in.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. So then let's go to the very end, and we're going to do between 1 to 2 seconds of silence at the end of your track.
You said 1 to 2 seconds.
Yep. And then we'll do a fade out there.
Got it.
Great. I know you said you did noise reduction already. Did you happen to use click removal as well, like for the pops and crackles and saliva sounds?
I hadn't yet. I'm always a little bit more hesitant to do it to like the entire thing just because sometimes it'll make like and noises like it'll make them kind of soft or make them disappear
Yeah, so you
entirely.
can apply it more or less. So you can make it a more subtle click removal as well.
Just a lower setting.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I have one client that's like very strict about it and they want like nothing at all. So with them, I turned it way up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
most of the time I make it pretty subtle.
Okay. Cool. Do you do the automatic click remover?
Yeah, you can do the click pop eliminator or like automatic click remover. You can just try and take a listen to like what those settings did and then see what you think. Yeah, you can start with like the auto settings and then if you don't like it, we can always edit, undo, and try adjusting them.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's take a listen and see what that did to it and see what you think.
Okay. I hadn't introduced the book or anything. I just started with the introduction.
Does it sound okay to you so far?
So far,
Okay. Yeah, and it's like clear, it didn't do too much. Great.
yeah,
Um, all right. So we probably want to do so you'll probably want to do normalize. So you're going to want to normalize your peaks to -6 decibel. Do they also have loudness normalization as well?
sure they do. It's just probably
Yeah, they
under.
like sometimes call things different things in different programs too, so it's all good. So normalize we did. Um, Let's do the compressor as well. And is there a de-esser in here? We'll figure
There
it out.
is right here.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll probably want to apply the de-esser, the compressor.
For the compressor, do you want the uh, multi-band compressor, the single band compressor, the tube modeled compressor? Uh,
Yeah, it depends on the effect you want. Like tube is more like the vintage, like Frank Sinatra mic kind of sound. It kind of depends on the sound that you want. Um, so let's try one of the others and just see what you think. Because these plugins are all modeled to give you the effect of some piece of hardware. So we'll see which one we like. So let's try the single band, and then if we don't like it, then we'll try another one.
okay. All right. We have a few options here.
Yeah, so you're gonna go with voiceover. Yeah.
And then just go with the default
Yeah, let's
numbers
try
here.
that.
Well,
Perfect. Um, you did the de-esser. Let's go ahead and try limiter as well.
I didn't actually do the de-esser yet.
Oh, that's okay. I had it in my
Um,
brain we did, but that's okay. So we're gonna apply the de-esser as well.
just the default
Yep.
for now. Okay.
Alrighty, and let's try. I feel like EQ, we don't need to change your name when it's just narration, or sorry, your voice when it's just narration. So, um, I don't feel like we need to like boost your booming lows or like boost your high, squeaky
Yeah.
sounds or anything. Like, so I think we can just keep it without that because that'll kind of change some of your vocal quality. Um, let's add the limiter as well.
Hard limiter.
Yeah, let's click it. Let me see.
I know that there's a another one
Hmm,
that's
let
um
me see. Peak value should be no higher than -3 decibels is in their parameters. So yeah, like it's pretty strict. Like it's very strict compared to others. Yeah. Okay, let's try that. So apply. And the last thing I like to do is amplify because it makes it as loud as it can be without distorting.
okay.
And yeah, just let it figure out what it needs. So we'll just, if you just let it auto choose, it'll just make it as loud as it can be without.
Oh, okay. So like
Yeah, and then don't change anything, just let it figure it out and it'll make it as loud as it can be without distorting, basically.
okay.
If it it like auto senses
Yeah.
is the thing that we want it to do. Okay. So let's go ahead and just listen to that. Yeah, what do you think of that?
That's actually yeah, it's really good.
Good. All right. So then when we export it, it's going to be important that we export it a certain way as well. Can we go to File, Export, File? All right. So you're going to choose where. We do need it to be MP3 audio. We need it to be 192 kilobytes per second, constant bit rate of 44.1 kilohertz.
Which
Yeah.
is
So I think
which
we're
is that.
good there with those settings. Great. And then you can go ahead and export that. Mm, okay. So what we're gonna do then is we're gonna put it into
The checker.
the checker. Yes, exactly. Um, that is the sound check audio lab. Okay, where is the link? It is mm, here it is. Alrighty. So, you're gonna so sometimes I do everything and it still is not exactly like perfect. And that's okay because it's going to tell us what needs to be changed. So it'll be like, oh, it's like slightly too loud or slightly too soft or like your peak values or whatever. And then you just adjust. So we're going to check it. So I put it into the chat. If you click there, we're going to upload into the audio lab and analyze the file. And then it's going to tell us if we need to tweak anything.
Perfect. Okay.
Oh, all the way on the left under messages, I think is the one. Is that it?
Uh, oh, that's just the peak.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so it's this one.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I don't understand what the PKF is. I just
Yeah, they like save other information for the audio file, and if you delete that, then like the audio files don't open. It's a weird thing. So I
hmm,
usually just make a folder and drop it all in there.
gotcha.
Yeah. So then it's going to tell us if there's anything slightly askew,
Okay, cool.
which is very helpful. When I first tried to be on ACX, they didn't have this. So
Yeah, that was really
So
nice.
it's just a little too soft. That's no big deal. So all you have to do is go to amplify and we're just going to raise it 3 decibels basically. So real easy.
This file, 3 does. Oh, 3 does. Oh, it tells
Yeah.
you. That's nice.
Yeah, exactly. It tells you exactly what's wrong. So we go to amplify and you're just going to say 3 decibels and it's just going to add that. And then we're going to apply it. And now we'll export it again and we're going to check it and it should be okay. Yeah, and just replace it.
Yeah,
That's what I do too.
especially when I know this isn't going to be my final take anyway. So it's like, okay.
And fingers crossed, they're like, perfect.
And
Sometimes I do what they said, and then they're like, you're like, you need to raise it 0.25 more. And I'm like, really?
like, fine.
Yay! Perfect.
Oh, it
Yeah.
worked.
So probably if your recording setup is the same, it's just going to be add the 3 consistently. So if you don't change anything about the audio setup, it's probably just consistently going to be add 3 decibels
Okay.
at the end. So you can just mental note that and then keep doing that. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So let's try another file and we're going to try to do the same steps again.
Okay.
And I'm going
Uh,
to take notes in the chat as we go. All right. So the first thing we did was make intro silence 0.5 to 1 second long. And then we did fade in on the silence at beginning. All right. So we're going to do that. You're going to make it half a second to a second long and then add the fade in.
so I'm just gonna find another file to do this on. Uh, 300% at 0.5 towards. There we go. And then fade in, silence at the beginning. Opposite end. And yes. Sorry, you're very patient.
It's okay. Yeah, I think it's important that you walk through and do each step.
It definitely helps. Yeah.
Because if I just go through and show you, then it's like, wait a minute, what happened?
Yeah.
But if you actually do it, then you're going to feel a
Yeah.
lot more confident doing it on your own later.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Um, okay, yeah. This go.
Yeah, and I did write it in the chat as well.
This is really helpful.
Yeah,
And yeah.
just as like clues, reminders.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna actually copy these down when after I finish with this one. Okay. And normalize.
Oh, I forgot to put the de-esser as
Oh,
well. Yeah. That one's good too.
normalize is -6.
Hmm.
Single band compressor, voiceover. And emitter. It's supposed to be -3, right?
Yes.
Default. I already did the background noise reduction on this one. Um, amplify. Should I automatically do 3 or should I start at
I
should
would
I
just
start
go ahead and do the three because if you have the same recording setup, it should be pretty consistent.
okay. DS. Okay. 182.
Yep.
Okay.
Alrighty. And then we're going to go back to check on the acx.com/audiolab/playground page. So
Can you see
analyze
that on?
another file. Yep.
Okay, cool.
And we'll see, if we need to raise it or lower it or whatever, it's going to tell us. Yeah, they used to have all of it be like manual people checking everything. And so you
Oof.
had to wait for them to get back to you. And so this is
Ye-
definitely very handy. It's really helpful.
Yeah, that'd be
And
really
I
annoying,
also have
especially if like,
seen it has helped students to learn how to do the editing faster, which I think is
yeah,
really nice.
just like standard editing and like on other websites as well.
Yeah. And
Imagine.
different students have had different things that they've had to adjust depending on their microphone, the room that they record in. And, it's nice because I maybe am not always right there with you. And so I can be like, well, it sounds like this to me, and I can like manually go check it. But it's just a lot easier to put it in here and have it just spit it out for you. Be like, here's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it said no issues were found. So,
Yay!
yeah.
So now we have your perfect formula.
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's so perfect. Okay.
Yeah, and you still may occasionally find funky things, but um one thing too to keep in mind, I have a book right now that's more like history book kind of thing. Um it has very long chapters. If a chapter is longer than an hour and a half, you'll have to split it into two and you say like this chapter part two, because it does limit you to an hour and a half per file. So keep that in mind as well. That's something that I remember was on
Okay.
the list of things. So if you're like, I don't get it, it's perfect. Why isn't it uploading? Then that could be an issue that it's too long. But the analyzer should tell you any issues that pop up.
Yeah. And that's
So
and like the website also has like a list of
they do, yeah.
parameters, right? Okay.
They do. They have a like step-by-step list of this and this and this and this. It's interesting because the WAV files are actually a higher quality file, but they're storing so many different files that it makes sense to me. I mean, it's still CD quality, but the WAV files are a little bit better quality. So
Yeah.
they just
I
take a
was gonna say
lot more
like,
storage.
yeah. So like I'm assuming that there was like a reason for, them wanting
Yeah.
the default always to be waived.
Yeah.
Change
Don't
it.
forget to add the de-esser to that list of things to add. I would do that before the amplify, like, up there somewhere with like the other guys. I usually do amplify last, very last, because sometimes the other plugins can change the loudness. So,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. So then what would you say is maybe like one thing that you learned today that you didn't know before?
That I actually don't need to be so concerned about the terminology that it had on there. Like when it said like, oh, you were like this low in terms of like it had it in some unit that had never heard of, and I was like, I don't know how to.
Yeah.
Uh, so that
What's
that was a
maybe something you have to remember? That you're like, I need to make sure I remember this.
um, I think just making some of these just like standard,
Yeah.
just like the depending on the levels that become normal for me, um,
Mhm.
like just getting used to normalizing it to compressing it to
Yeah.
the voiceover setting, and then you know
Because right now you have
with
to really think about it. Like, okay, what's next? Go down the
yeah,
checklist, right?
yeah, and then just kind of I think the biggest thing is just making these a habit.
Yeah, right. That you just kind of roll through it. You just kind of have process you'll go through. So it's just practicing it. That's where I think just each file, just practice any files you've got, practice doing the steps. And the more you do it, the better and faster you'll get. Even if you're submitting auditions, just challenge yourself to go through and do all of these on each audition just to get yourself quicker at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Good. Good. Anything else that you wanted to ask about today or like bounce off me today?
Um, Not that I can think of.
Okay.
I promise that by our next lesson, I will have sent you my hopefully final take of the intro.
All right. Love it. Okay. I'm
Um,
looking forward to it.
yeah,
That's
yeah. And I say hopefully, meaning it's like you might say, yeah, let's change a few things. Okay.
all
Uh,
right. There's nothing wrong with that. So, yeah. So I know too, like you're still in recovery mode. So no rush. Take care of yourself. Drink lots of water. Get good rest. Take care of your body because your body is your instrument. So we can't do our job if our body is sick, unfortunately. So
yeah,
um, take extra good care of yourself. And when you're ready, you can dive back in. You can still be practicing and like, working on things in the meantime.
yeah.
But you know, also give yourself grace because you're still in that recovery mode.
Okay,
That's okay.
cool.
We're human.
Yeah. Uh, the joys and the sorrows.
Yep. So I'll see you in a week and a half. So by then you
Yes,
should be feeling good.
week from Monday. Yeah. If I'm not better by then, there's probably something wrong. So
Yeah, yeah. So just take good care of yourself and we'll dive back in then.
awesome. Thank you so much, Mandy,
Alrighty.
and thanks for being so patient with
Absolutely.
everything this week.
No, it's fine. I get it. It's like when I first started walking through the edits with people, I was like, "Here, I'll just show you." And people would be like, "Oh my gosh, you went so fast." And
It's just like,
so
wait,
I
what was
just
that? What
figured
was
out
that?
I was like, "Okay, people just need some time to look at it, and that's okay." And to do
Yeah,
it themselves, like you need to go step by step. And I was the same way, so I don't know why I like expected people to just get it, you know?
yeah,
I'm very much that where it's like, okay, I watched you, but now I need to do it. And once I do it, I'm like, I got it. But if I
yeah,
haven't done it myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna remember.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
like,
And
please
I mean,
let
like,
me do it myself.
yeah, and it like just has so many options and like
It
things
does.
that you can do that it's just like,
It's
okay,
overwhelming.
what
Yeah.
are the most important ones to
Mhm.
focus on?
Well, the thing is, you can do a lot with that. And we don't need to do music mixing. We don't need to be
My goodness.
producing a fully produced like film score or something. That's not what we need to have the skill to do as voice actors. It's a lot more minimal. And so knowing what's important, what's not, at some point you may want to use EQ. So maybe like with character voices, we might use some of that. I can show you how we use it, why we use it. But for just like your standard basic edits, what you just did is what we need.
Yeah,
There may be
yeah,
times when you want to change your voice more, like you purposefully pitch it higher or lower. I've done that before. So it just depends on the project and what the goal is. But when you just want it to sound really clean and just be like your regular voice, what we just did works great.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that you've actually showed me some of the EQ things in the past, like where it had like
Yeah.
all the different bars going across at the different levels. Um,
Yeah, yep. It's where you kind of want to like really make my like low decibels like make or sorry, not decibels, but the like the frequencies. So how fast is it vibrating? So the low pitches bring those out more and make my high pitches be minimized or like really
yeah,
bring out the high, make it brighter and perkier sounding and kind of mute, muffle the lows. So it's like I'm playing a sprightly fairy and I want it to sound really high and I want to get rid of my like lows, bass kind of anchor of my voice and just leave the high stuff. Well, then I can do that with EQ. Or if I want a character to be super booming and low, then
yeah,
maybe I'm gonna get rid of the highs and really like boost the low frequencies.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's where
Okay,
you might use that. Um,
yeah,
there are other effects too. You can get really creative. I recommend just honestly, like take a day and take yourself being like, Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow. And then just like add each effect and listen to what it does.
explore.
Add another
Yeah,
effect, listen to what it does. So like add the effect, listen, undo it. Add a different effect. listen, undo it, and just figure out what does each one do. And
Hmm.
it should be fun. It's like a game. It's just like, ooh, what does this one do?
Oh,
It's
that's
like
fun.
that.
Yeah.
What else can I
Oh, I
do?
like that.
Like in the Family Madrigal, right? She's like, what else can I do? Right? The one song. She's like, what else? What else? And
Yeah.
she's just like exploring. She's like, oh, I can do this. I can do that. And she's like all excited because she's like, oh, I didn't know I could do that.
You look at that.
And
Yeah.
it's just that kind of a feeling of like, oh, let's discover what this is. So it's just kind of like take some time to play and just
Yeah.
explore, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely
Alrighty.
do that.
And especially right now when you're like, I can't really do any of my final recording. That's okay.
Yeah.
Learn
Yeah.
something.
Record my sick voice and then just play with it. Yeah.
Exactly. Just play with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll actually use it. I'll be like, this would be great for this character. So then I'll go like record a bunch of that character and just
Yeah.
like save the
Did,
files.
did,
And then I'm like, then I'll plug them in later.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So,
Perfect.
yeah. Alrighty. Well, awesome work today, Brigham.
Awesome. Yeah. No,
I'll
thank you,
see you
Andy.
a week from Monday.
Yes. Perfect. I'll plan on
Alrighty.
it.
Have a good weekend. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
You too.